All right, folks. I want to put together a quick video on the identity of the HATMAN or the hooded entity that people often see these two entities when they're experiencing sleep paralysis or under spiritual oppression. And I've basically worked through here a few points that I want to cover on an outline, and then I'll kind of elaborate as I go. But I mean, honestly, we'll just start with point one here. Truthfully, no one really knows what these entities are. This is all speculation on my part and others, based on a vast collection of accounts from sleep paralysis sufferers and reported sightings. Um, Basically, the Hatman and the hooded entity are linked together through reported sightings during sleep paralysis by sleep paralysis sufferers, and they're often linked to reptilian. Some people say that they look like they have a reptilian texture to their face when they get up close. And some people speculate they may be linked to the fallen Nakash, like the Nakash in the garden. Nakash is the Hebrew word that's translated snake in our English translations of our Bibles here. And I want to take time now to kind of show you some pics of what people say that they see during these experiences to give you a good idea of what the experiences people are having, what they're actually seeing. All right, this is typical. You got the Hat Man on the left, you got the hooded figure on the right. They're made out of black, like a misty spirit material that's almost, I guess, translucent, you'd say. And they appear to be made of like a black mist smoky material that kind of whips and pops around their being. Imagine if what you're seeing here whipped and popped like fire, and I think I've got another pic here. Yeah, oftentimes they're reported to have red eyes, like you can see here. Some people report the red eyes, some people don't. I've heard yellow eyes. I've heard like a green color. But yeah, just wanted to throw that in there, show you guys that picture with the red eyes and whatnot. And the humanoid being here, I wanted to throw this in here too, because oftentimes this is part of like the shadow being or shadow people thing. And these are the most common again. The most common is probably the hooded entity. Number two would be the Hat Man, and number three, the shadow being here. Actually, the shadow person being is probably the most cited. People see those while they're awake. They see those types of being while they're awake. But as far as sleep paralysis, the two most common I would say are the hooded and the hat entity here, the Hat Man. And here's another one I thought was a pretty good representation of what I saw when I was pulled out of body. I had an out-of-body experience. I was pulled out of body by one of these entities. I cover that in one of my other videos in an interview. I think it's entitled Strange Days to Glory interview. It's on my page. Go look it up if you're interested in that experience. And all right, let's get back to here. All right, three. Demonic entities can take any form, so we can't read too much into this. I've collected accounts in which people report they change form or morph right in front of them. I mean, again, the whole shapeshifter thing. I mean, I believe the same being can appear either with a hood or in the Hatman form, and why they choose that Hatman form, we don't know. At least I don't know. There are other reports of childlike Hatmen. That's very interesting, and I've heard this several times, to where they're like the smaller ones and they're childlike in their behavior. And I mean, obviously, these adult size and childlike forms that are reported cannot possibly be the same being or the same level of being. So, yeah, I just throwing that out there. I really don't know what to make of that, but I mean, I just kind of want to go over some of the stuff here. Maybe you guys have some insight on this. If you want to comment here or join the group, my group link will be in the description. If you've got some insight into this stuff, folks, I would love to hear it. Right now, I just want to go over the things that I find strange and that stick out in my mind. We'll move on to number four here. Hatmen typically observe us at the foot of our bed or from a doorway during sleep paralysis, and people they often say that even while they're awake, that they're being observed by a shadow being or something in the doorway. I got some pictures of that too I want to show you. This is what people say they see. Here's one, as you can clearly see, standing in the doorway. And here's another representation of that with the red eyes, again with the red eyes. So, okay, let's move on to the next one here. All right. Hatmen appear to give instruction to other entities that they are in authority over. Often during spiritual oppression, it's a team of 3 or more entities that work together to oppress a person. For example, one Hatman appears to give instruction to one masculine and one feminine entity as they directly oppress a person. Sufferers of sleep paralysis often report overhearing these entities talk about how to proceed against them during these attacks. Some speculate that the Hatman operates the portal they all 3 use, or he assists in supplying energy to the other 2 while they oppress a person. Again, very strange. Oftentimes I get accounts from people, they overhear these conversations. They can literally hear voices talking back and forth, kind of asking each other how they want to proceed. Very strange. And, again, it's one of those things that I really just don't know what you do with that information. This is just what people are saying. And if we want to formulate our opinion and off the information and make an informed, an informed guess at what these things are, I mean, you have to throw that in because there are just way too many people that report this kind of back and forth talking between these entities. So there it is. Number 6. Many high-level occultists believe they are of the Watcher class of entity, or either highly evolved human beings from the future that time travel to lead us down specific paths. Again, another strange one, and this branches off into a lot of like alien UFO phenomenon, if you want to run down that rabbit hole. I didn't want to include this in here right now with this video because I just don't want to get, I don't want to get kind of rabbit holed off into that. I want to stay focused on what these entities are. Maybe I'll do a video about that later. Let's move on to 7. Please note the movies and TV series that represent Hatman and hooded entities in this role, in which they are higher entities like watchers or observers that guide us or lead us down specific paths. For example, the movie The Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon, TV show Fringe, TV show 12 Monkeys, another movie, Dark City, and the Communion film about Whitney Strieber and his experiences. And I've got some pics for that to kind of give you like a visual aid of what I'm talking about here. Let's start with the Adjustment Bureau here. Notice in this movie poster, folks, if you can see right here, that is a shadow being right there with a hat on, right? You can see the hat, you can see his outline. He's got the cloak or the coat on. There's another one here. Okay, and let's move on to the second poster here again. Their shadows are being cast upon these buildings here in the city. And during the film, I don't know if you're familiar with the film or not, but they interact with Matt Damon. Matt Damon meets this girl, and they feel like that has put his life off course for what a higher being's plans are for him. So they try to separate these two, and they end up falling in love and fighting to be together. But I think the important thing to understand is they're trying to interfere with this man's life, and that's pretty interesting. To me, I'm not going to get too lost in the plot of that movie. I'm going to continue on here. At one point in the movie, one of these beings with the hat that are part of the Adjustment Bureau try to help out Matt Damon, and he gives him this hat. And ironically enough, again back to the portal thing, where some people believe that these hatmen can open portals. Once he gives Matt Damon that hat and Matt Damon puts on that hat, he can walk through portals and doorways and kind of shift around the city and whatnot. Again, I think it might be loosely based on what we see with these type of entities. The show Fringe, I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but these observer class people, they're manipulating information and whatnot. I've seen some of Fringe, but I really can't remember a whole lot about it. But I do know they appear to be, I think it even kind of leads into the alien agenda thing here. But anyways, they're manipulating humans. They're hiding information from them. They're kind of guiding them down specific paths. And probably the most prevalent one in Fringe would be this one here. Figured I'd just throw that in. And okay, 12 Monkeys. Again, you've got these hooded beings. And, again, you've got another show that deals with time travel. There's a specific city that they're operating out of. It's pretty strange. I'm not very familiar with the material, but I threw it in here because it's about time travel, and you can obviously see with the hooded entity thing that it's some of the elements of what I'm talking about here are laced in this series. Another pick from 12 Monkeys, and another one. And Dark City, again, you know, you've got the beings with the black coats and the black hats. I think I've got one more from that film here. Yeah. Here you go. Again, you know, you got the long black coats and the black top hats, fedoras. I don't really know whatever you want to call that, but strange nonetheless. Okay. Now, this is one thing that I find odd. Now, listen, I love Jewish people, and this is no way at all an attack on Jewish people, Jewish culture, none of that. But I want to throw it in here because of how strange the similarities are, okay? Ultra-Orthodox and Hasidic Jewish clothing most closely resembles the Hatman's form. Now, some people say it's a cowboy hat and like a trench coat, but the majority of people stay away from that. They go with a fedora. I've had people tell me that the Hatman's the Fedora Man. That's kind of the name that they came up with before they knew that it was a whole thing that affected a lot of people, and he had already been nicknamed the Hatman. And it makes me wonder, okay, well, who wore the hat and the overcoat first? Mankind or these fallen entities? I wonder if most of the fashion that comes and goes in and out of style isn't representative of the entity or spirit that's assigned over that specific group of people. Do these entities influence our thoughts and creativity so much that we dress how they influence us to dress? So, I mean, like in my mind, I almost kind of wonder, you know, it reminds me of seeing like women that own these little pet dogs that they carry around in their purse, how they put sweaters on them and they dress them up. It almost seems to be of the mentality that these beings take on human beings as almost like pets, you know. And I wonder how much that through thought transference and whatnot that they don't influence, you know, us and how we dress. I mean, we may think that, you know, a fashion designer came up with that specific look, but I wonder if it's not heavily influenced by demonic entities. And it's just, you know, just something that strikes me as weird. You know, I figured I would throw it in this video. And we'll move on to 10 here. The Hatman and or the hooded entity are often represented right under our noses in movies. So like I showed earlier, I showed you some of the clips, and they're in a lot more. Government agencies and even wine. No one seems to find this odd. I'm going to show you the pics and some of the links to the stuff again that I find really, really odd. Let's start with the pictures here. Okay, let's, you know what? I didn't show you the Jewish clothing. Hold on, let me do this really quickly. This is the type of clothing that I was talking about that ultra-Orthodox and Hasidic Jews wear that is most closely resembles like the Shadow Man figure. As you can see, once again, you have the coat and you got the black hat. Here's another one close up of the hat, the coat. And once again, here's another image with, you know, you've got the black hat, the black coat, whatnot. Again, I don't know what you want to do with that. I don't know why they'd want to emulate Jewish people, but it seems to be what most closely represents what people see. So I'm going to throw it in the video. And, okay. Government patch for a government agency here. I believe it's part of our military. I'm not sure. I figured I'd throw it in the video. It's been a while since I read the material, but a link to this is on wikipedia.com. It's the 23rd Space Operations, and let me throw up that link too, just to show you that I've got it here. Right here. As you can see, you know, go to Wikipedia, look it up if you want to look into this, but that patch, that emblem, very strange. I mean, that's a hooded being. You know, just some more high strangeness for me. Why on earth would you pick something like that to represent space operations? I don't know. Once again, space operations, you kind of got the whole, you know, they link it into kind of like, you know, an outer space, maybe an alien type of thing. I mean, I don't know why you would pick that, but that's the image they chose. So, you know, there's probably something behind it, an occultic meaning to them, secret meaning, but, I mean, I'm not going to try to speculate on that. And I believe this Operation Squadron was put together before Donald Trump made the Space Force, but you see a similar, with that triangle there, you see kind of like a similar to the Space Force emblem that they use now. Kind of weird. And let's move on to this. Boeing Phantom Works, the aircraft company, they've got a being here that obviously they're implying is the Phantom because this is their logo or icon, and the name of this department is Boeing Phantom Works. Again, I want to show you that Wikipedia page. Here it is. Go look it up, folks. Have you look. That's a strange emblem to have a HATMAN who they're implying by the name's a phantom. I mean, just some more high strangeness that I think people just breeze over every day, like it's, they just don't seem to pick up on the symbology. You got this wine company named Sandman here. And as you can see, they've kind of got HATMAN logo here, and I can show you a little more thoroughly with the pictures that I have. Here's one of their advertisements. You can clearly see that that's a HATMAN type of figure, and he's all in black face. I mean, they're not showing you that, they're not trying to say that's a human being, folks. There's no face there, that's blacked out. So once again, pretty strange stuff. And let's move on to the next one here. Again, he's depicted on the front of the wine. And we'll move on to the next one here. This I thought was interesting. When I was researching this company, they literally have a bottle of wine that they make that has the HATMAN emblem right there. And a few people can see that there, but they call this literally the Hat and Cape. I really don't think that's coincidence. They seem to be kind of targeting something specific with that. But I mean, make of it what you will. I can't speak with certainty on it. I wasn't involved with the process of when they chose this logo, and I don't have any information on that, but it's just something else that I find strange. Figured I'd throw it in there. All right. And let's move on here, and I'll close with this. Here are some Bible verses about the hierarchy of the spirit world that seem to support the info that I just covered. Okay. Paul talks about, let me just go to the Bible verse and I'll read it to you. Okay. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay. I believe somewhere in this hierarchy that what these demonic entities that manifest as a HATMAN or hooded entity, they fit somewhere in this hierarchy. Okay. And I'm going to move on to the next one here. I want to move on to Psalm 82. This is about the divine council. Michael Heiser has some interesting teachings on this. I don't want to misquote him, so I'll just kind of give you my version of it. It seems to be that these are fallen angels God's talking about, and you'll notice near the end that like 7 right here, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. So if you're going to die like a man, that implies, and well, even in the verse before, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Okay. I mean, this sounds to me like these beings are being told that they're going to die like men, maybe experience a second death, get thrown in the lake of fire for following Satan. I'm going to go ahead and read the verse from the top, and you guys can kind of make your own judgment on that, but I'll read it while I'm here. Psalm 82. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Salah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of ye are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations. Again, I think that kind of plays into Ephesians 6:12, where Paul's talking about the hierarchy of the spiritual darkness. And, I think these beings are fall. I believe the fall is progressive. I believe, there are some entities out here or angelic beings that have not fell yet because they have not, gone with Lucifer, but I believe they will. And I believe it's a progressive thing, but I mean, that's a whole nother thing I don't really want to get into right now. Let's move on here. Here's another thing I found interesting. I'm going to read you the Bible verse first, and then I'll comment on it. 1 Peter 1:10-12. Of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you, searching what manner of time the Spirit of Christ which was in them did signify, when it tested beforehand the sufferings of Christ and the glory that should follow. Unto whom it was revealed, that not unto themselves, but unto us, they did minister the things which are now reported unto you by them that have preached the gospel unto you, with the Holy Ghost sent down from heaven, which things the angels desire to look into. So, right here, folks, we've got God giving revelation to mankind through the Holy Ghost about the salvation, which things angels desire to look into. Well, if they desire to look into it, then God did not tell these beings these specific details. And there's another verse in here that Paul writes about in Ephesians, and then I'll kind of give you my summation of what I think that means. Ephesians 3, 9 through 11. And to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world hath been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ, to the intent that now unto the principalities and the powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of God, according to the eternal purpose which he posed in Jesus Christ our Lord. Again, we're talking about principalities and powers, and what's being implied here is they don't have the information or the manifold wisdom of God that has been given in men. And I'll kind of close with this one thing that I think that would be consistent with what people tell me and what these entities do. Folks, a lot of people that have these experiences over and over again, and me myself, you kind of feel, you get the impression after a while that you're being toyed with in your dreams a little bit. Almost like that they're kind of looking for information. And I kind of wonder if that don't play into this to where, you know, God is giving us revelation through the Holy Spirit. And I wonder if these entities don't play around in our dreams trying to get us to divulge some of that information, you know. And I mean, again, I don't know what you want to do with that. Again, that's just a hunch. But, you know, I'm just wanted to put together a short video on the things that I find the strangest about this and who these entities might be. And you know what? Until next time, folks, God bless you all. Thanks for listening.